When I say cutting-edge hunting rifle, I expect you're thinking of polymer stocks, carbon fibre barrels, magical rifling. However, if I said 130-year-old Lee Speed, what would you think? So what is this? This is an 1898 Lee Speed, built by BSA, branded and finished, or shot and regulated by Army and Navy. And as such, is the sporting variant of a Lee Metford, Lee Enfield at this period in time. The Lee Speed was always the sporting variant of both those guns. The Lee comes from James Paris Lee. James Paris Lee obviously has the famous detachable magazine system. He says, we have come on a way in making easier magazine detachments. And the rear locking bolt system. So the bolt comes out thus. You say the rear locking bolt, you have your lug there that locks it in place. It's headspace from the rim of the cartridge because it's a 303. And you have a very simple trigger locking system between this piece here and your trigger piece there. It's a fairly simple system that you'll have seen across many, many battle rifles. The best battle rifle ever until it was surpassed. But again, nothing wrong with being mindlessly patriotic, as I've been reminded recently. What do you get with this gun? A metal heel plate inlaid at the toe. As you can see, this gun is lovingly engraved across all of its bits. It's a really nicely finished gun. You have a higher grade of wood than you'd have on any other variant. Beautiful sling swivel, oval, really lovingly checkered. And I must admit, the grip, radius and design on this is one of my favourite parts. A round bolt knob instead of a flattened one. A trigger, that's very helpful. Mag cutoff, beautifully engraved around the magazine with a gold inlaid border around there, starting to wear a little bit thin. One of my favourite bits about this gun actually is the engraving on the trigger guard. It's so simple but very proud and beautifully executed. Horn fore-end tip, horn grip cap, sling swivel on the front of the barrel there, a flat filed rib engraved Army and Navy Cooperative Society Limited, London, for cordite only, 3 folding blade rear sight with platinum lines running through them, and a ladder sight out to 1,000 yards if you just fancied wanging one off at a very long range Impala. Little front bead sight there, that is adjustable, there's a little locking screw in the side. You have wave checkering that goes the full length of this barrel. The Speed has nothing to do with how fast the action is, by the way. The Speed was the name, I believe, of the director of the Royal Small Arms factory at Enfield, which is where these things were produced, either RSAF Enfield or at BSA Corporation. I think we just needed a moment to behold how unbelievably beautiful this rifle is. So you get standard Lee Speeds and they're not that exciting. However, you get Lee Speeds that were finished and regulated by other people. And there's numerous accounts of makers and gun houses that finished these guns to different standards and different specs. This one is an Army and Navy. As you can see, they've done a beautiful job over what is, generally speaking, still a good looking rifle, but not what I would call a beautiful rifle. These rifles, Lee Speeds, really were designed to go all over the world. That's the whole point of the Army and Navy Cooperative. Army and Navy Cooperative, founded in 1871, I believe, by a group of Army and Navy officers. They essentially were one of the first proper department stores. The concept being that you could go into one of their department stores, pick all your stuff because you're being deployed out to India, they'd put it in a box, send it out there for you, and you get everything you need. And if you look at their old catalogues, you can literally get anything you need. Anything you need. I think that's quite smart, up to and including 303 rifles.
And now a quick word from our sponsor, who is us. So if you want to support us and you can be part of our sponsorship program, you can become a channel member. There's a button down there that says join, click it, there's a link in the description, and you can support our channel. You get loads of free content, you get members exclusive videos. It's great, and you get to support us in the work we do, which I hope you enjoy, which is why you're watching. Anyway, let's carry on.
The Lee Speed itself actually is probably a more famous gun than people give it credit for. thinking that they, Camo Rebel used one for Plains game, and Val Kilmer used one. I mean, Val Kilmer acted as the person who used one and used one in the film Ghost in the Darkness. Although Army and Navy at its peak, and it grew very, very fast, you know, I think within sort of 5 or 6 years of its inception, it had its own banking system, it had everything you could ever want. In 1973, it was sold out to House of Fraser, which is a sad thing because that was a long time before I was born, so I never got to go to a proper Army and Navy stores. However, and here's the thing that fills me with joy, House of Fraser has been bought out quite a few times, but most recently by Sports Direct, who, if you think about it, are a little bit like Army and Navy stores. There you go, here it is, the Sports Direct rifle. So what do you get with a rifle like this? It's not a Mauser 98. Remembering that this rear locking bolt design came out before the Mauser 98, that it is not quite as good. They were never as expensive. They are still significantly less expensive. You go and find yourself a nicely regulated 7x57 Mauser from this sort of period, that will go for a lot of money. You can pick one of these up for a lot less money. And as new, they were a lot less money. The beauty of something becoming slightly obsolete, and it does break my heart that nobody makes a gun to the Enfield design anymore, it's kind of sad. So, accuracy. Reasonably, I can put a 3-inch group off of open sights at 60 meters. That's about the best I can manage with it. I think it's about the best the gun can manage as well, to be fair. I've had very good shots have a go with it to just make sure it wasn't me, and yeah, the gun just isn't as accurate as it once was. However, remembering that we live in probably the best age of rifle making to date, given that you can go and buy a dirt cheap rifle, like a £500 rifle that will throw sub-MOA groups, that wasn't the case even 30 years ago. So 123 years ago, that sort of accuracy was probably good enough. To be fair, it's a group that is good enough to chest shoot a deer, which is exactly what this rifle was designed for. Hunting and enjoyment. And I tell you what, I'm starting to sound like Simon Ranolf here, is they did know what they were doing back in the day, unsurprisingly. This gun hefts beautifully. It is designed to shoot, and when you do shoot it, the recoil management is obscenely good. You know, the man who built this wasn't building this for profit, although it was obviously the point, I think I say that, the whole point in Army and Navy stores was to give stuff at the best possible value. But this gun was built by a gun maker, a man who was in love with his art. And you can really tell when you shoot it, it is obscenely fun, obscenely fun. I love it. Anyway, that is the short and relatively exciting story of probably the most beautiful rifle in my collection. Yummy.